Hey everyone. So today's session will be regarding our AWS environment setup for our specifically for our Splunk environment and the deployment of our Splunk standalone environment. So basically, in our AWS environment, we'll be having a VPC, and inside that we'll be having a subnet. So what we have to do first is we'll be creating deploying a OpenVPN server. So basically this OpenVPN server is will be helping us for getting into that particular network of the AWS network, and so that our all instances will be in our private subnet and they need not to be publicly available. Okay, so first will be our task will be to deploy our OpenVPN server through which we'll be accessing our AWS environment, and then we'll be deploying our three instances. First is the search head, second is indexer, and third is the universal forwarder. So all these Splunk instances will be Linux environment. So let's start. So first, I'm into my AWS environment, so where I'll be launching my instance. In order to launch the instance, you have to come to log into the console of the AWS and then get into the EC2 service. So once you get into the EC2 service, you'll see here a launch instance button. So you have to click on that launch instance, and then you have to browse for more AMIs. And if you go to the AWS Marketplace AMIs, you'll be seeing here various other AMIs. Okay, so other third-party AMIs as well. So you have to search here for OpenVPN. Okay, so Open Access VPN Access Server. So this will be a free basically. Okay, free tier one. So it can allow us to log in max two or three people at a time to this server. So that is fine for our use case as of now. So we'll be continuing with this. Okay, so we can name it as Open VPN server. So the AMI is selected. So we don't need the T2 dot small. We can use the T2 dot micro, which is the free tier eligible. So as of now, I have a default key pair already present. But what I will do is I will create a new key pair. So these key pairs will be same for all of my basically all of my instances. Okay, so I will name it as my infra key. Okay, so I'll be using OpenSSH for this particular one. So basically, I will be accessing all the instances and everything from my Linux machine. So I'll be downloading it a OpenSSH key basically, and I will creating this key pair. And this key pair is downloaded. Okay, so now I'll click on this edit. And for the subnet, I will select default subnet will be the subnet one for all of my instances. Okay, the first subnet which I'm seeing right now. So for all the subnets, I'll for this particular basically for this particular instance, we'll be having a public IP address, and rest all the instances will be having private. So basically private IPs, no public IPs, and they can only be accessed by getting into the network. Okay, so once that is being done, now what I will do is I will create a security group, and basically this security group will be common for all the instances. Okay, so will be creating a default security group, so I'll name it as my infra security group. Okay, and I'll remove all the basic rules. Okay, so what I will do now, I will add a security group rule. So which will be, I will be allowing all the traffics for this particular thing from any source as of now. So once that is done, I will launch this particular instance. So I need to provide a description. So I can make the description. So this is my same infra security group. That is fine. That is enough, and we can launch. Okay, my instance has started now. If I do a quick reload, fine. It's still in the pending state. It is going to take some time. Great. So my instance is running now. So what I will do is I will try to access this particular instance. As of now, the port will not be accessible, or the IP address will not be accessible. Like the website of this particular server will not be accessible. We have to configure few things. Okay, so guys, my machine is deployed, right? So I've also transferred my key to this to my Linux machine, which is this one, mindfrakey.pem. So now I will now try to connect to my EC2 instance, or basically the OpenVPN server, and try to configure it. Okay. So basically, in order to configure that particular thing, you need to do a SSH to that particular server. Okay. So basically the syntax is SSH-I. So the key which you have given, and the username is OpenVPN AS at the rate the IP address. So public IP address of the instance, you will get it here. So if you see here, here is the public IP address of the instance will be available, and the private IP address respectively. So basically we are trying to connect with the public IP address. So this is the public IP address. So now if you press enter, so it will ask you few basic details, right? So it will ask you the license to accept. Okay. So for the basic things, what you can do is you can give yes to everything. Then later on, what we will do is we'll configure it from the console. Okay, so there is one thing here, guys. Should client traffic be routed by default through the VPN? So this should be yes here. So why? Because now once we connect to the VPNs, all our traffic through the should be routed through the VPN, and like we should be able to access everything for the internet as well, and as well all the instances which is pleasant. Okay, so I will give yes here. So that is DNS traffic is not required, and this is also a very important question. Should private subnets be accessible to the clients by default? So again, this is also the thing. Like all the instances should be accessible to the to the machine which we are connecting through via the VPN, OpenVPN server. So that should be yes. Okay, let's click on yes. So so it is asking for what should be the login username for the UI. So it's OpenVPN. Okay. So we can set the password same. Okay, so it is asking for putting the credentials like something at least of 8 characters. So I've given the same now. So we don't have the activation key. So if you press enter, so the free license will be applied. Okay, so great guys. And now all the details what we are getting, right? So we'll try to collect it somewhere and keep it handy. Okay, so for our OpenVPN server, okay, so the UI username is OpenVPN. Okay, and the URL is basically this one. So we should keep all the things handy, guys. So that will be very helpful later. And also, if you are able to note down the public IP address or the IP address necessary IP address as well, that will be helping you to configure the things very quickly. So I'll keep a basic note every here. Okay. So now once that is being the configuration is done, so what I will do here is I will open my browser, and I will access this particular URL. Okay, so this is the admin login. So you can provide the credentials what you have said that time. Right. So we are here right now, guys. So this is the main console of the basically of the OpenVPN server. So all the configuration things, anything what you have to do, you have to do it from here. Okay. So basically the basic configuration what is there, we have already done it from the while we were setting up the our VPN OpenVPN server, right? So that is already been done here. So basically all details with what necessary details you will be able to see here in this particular thing. So now once our OpenVPN server is created, what we have to do now is we need a OpenVPN configuration file. So basically, through that particular configuration file, we'll be accessing our OpenVPN, like we'll be getting into our network. So we need to download that configuration file. Okay. So and basically that particular file will be for the Linux version. Now for downloading the OpenVPN configuration file that will be helping us to connect to our network, so we have to get into the client portal of this particular server. So basically just remove the admin part and just hit this particular URL. Okay, so once you come down, it will recognize your platform. It will say that this is a Linux platform, right? So that is recommended for us. So basically, and now it will be showing you what are the available connection profile. So just click on this yourself, and there will be one configuration file that has been downloaded, right? So now, how do we connect now? Just go back to your terminal. I'll put an exit to this particular connection. Now, if I go to my downloads, and I'll see that configuration file is present, right? So just type here OpenVPN and the configuration file. So it will be asking us the username. You can provide the same username what you have set during your configuration, or basically the username through which you are logging in into the console. Just provide the same. Okay, so once you see this, right, initialization sequence completed, it means that you are successfully connected to that particular network, or you are into that network. Now, how do we confirm that? Just if you press ifconfig, you'll be seeing this tunnel 0, right? So this is the IP address that you have received after connecting to that particular network. Now, what we will do is we'll also try to confirm that by pinging the private IP address of this particular instance. So let's see that. Let's see whether we are able to do that or not. Okay, right. So I'm able to ping the private IP address of that particular instance. So that means I'm into that